And I think that that kind of offers an explanation, at least a starting point, as to why this conversation is so emotionally charged. I feel like the people who are pro AI, I don't think that they're evil per se. I just think that they might have a blind spot. They're just not trying to, they're not doing a very good job at trying to understand the other side. And I think that that's where the other side is coming from, where it's like, it's not just artists saying, you're taking away our jobs. I think it's more fundamental than that. I think it's more meaningful than that. It's more substantial than that. I think it's almost like I feel like the artists that are against the AI movement thing that's going on right now, they're kind of looking at like some of these people who are pro AI are just being spiteful, like almost like doing it like, ha ha ha, your existence is null and void. Almost like, or at least that's the perspective that I think that it feels like, why this is so emotionally charged. And I feel like that's the reason why, because people aren't discussing what is art? What does it mean for a piece of work, a painting, an illustration, a piece of literature? What does it mean for it to be a piece of art versus it just being a product? And I think that there's a difference there. And perhaps that's where the real debate, like the people who are kind of like anti-AI, maybe instead of like shitting on the AI so much, where I feel like people who are more accepting of the AI, you're not really going to, maybe you won't necessarily, you're not going to change their mind in terms of just attacking them and saying, you're demonic, you hate humanity, you're the devil, you're the Antichrist, or you worship the Antichrist. No, I don't think that that's a very productive way of continuing this conversation. I think the more productive way of coming about the conversation is start talking about what makes something a work of art, because I think we could all agree that there are some products out there that are made by human beings that, to call it a work of art would be quite a stretch as far as that goes, quite a stretch, and I'm sure you guys have your own examples. Let's see, Redoubt Productions. I have played with some AI, quote unquote, art generators with the intention of getting some basic concepts for character ideas, for concept, not for publication. And for me personally, it just doesn't interest me. But I've already mentioned the fact that I'm not going to, piss on anyone's parade. It's out there. It's like the genie in the bottle. Once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put the genie back in the fucking bottle. So really, when you get all up in arms over this stuff, you know what happens? You end up looking like the Karen in the room, and no one wants to be a Karen, as far as that goes. People are going to play with it, and I don't care. Like, if people want to play with it, I'm not here to ruin your fun. You know what I mean? I'm not here to be the Karen in the room. I can only speak my mind, as I understand it. There must be special techniques people use, because I couldn't make diddly. Yeah, we're talking about theory craft. I mean, you can learn theory. There's theory in everything. Story craft, whether you want to be an illustrator, there's literally basic theory that you can understand, and you can learn techniques. And it's just about muscle memory at that point. Once you understand the fundamental aspects of technique and theory, yeah, then it's all about application after that. And that's what I mean. Like, there's like this insectoid brain where it's just like that wants to say, only look at things from a pragmatic standpoint. And it's just about churning out work. Or should I say, for lack of a better term, content. And content, I've used the term content, okay? And I understand what content is. Content is not art, okay? That's my own personal stance. But content should never be conflated with art. Content can have substance, sure. There's like trash content. There's plenty of you. You want to go on it, you want to, find trash content, go on any of these short form video format websites. There's plenty of trash content there for you to consume. But then there's also, content that offers substance. So just because something is content doesn't automatically mean it's garbage, just because it's not considered art. But art is something in it and of itself, and it's distinctly human. And it's something that I think does offer, it's both aesthetics, it's like a combination of aesthetics, and substance, and more than that. And there's a third ingredient, the third ingredient being what is often referred to as the X factor. Okay. The mysterious and awe-inspiring, that inspires wonder and amazement, the X factor, and nobody can really explain what that X factor is. It's the je ne sais quoi of the art world. And not everybody has it, and perhaps that might be the pro AI stance. Maybe some of the pro AI people are a little bit butthurt because perhaps they are a failed artist. Maybe they are somebody who they just don't have a creative bone in their body. They just don't have that side of their brain, is just like, it's numb. They just see the world as a bunch of numbers. They just see the world as a string of code, ones and zeros everywhere. Maybe it's like that. Maybe that's what AI is for these people. They're like, wow, I don't have a creative bone in my body. I have no internal monologue. I am effectively an NPC. This AI thing allows me to create art, or at least that's what I'm going to call it. Wink, wink. No, see, great. Chimps and elephants and gorillas have all been trained to paint. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you on that. That is an observable fact. But is it considered art? And I would argue, no, it is not, because art is a distinctly human thing. You can train a chimp to slap some paint on a canvas. Is it art? I would argue, no, it's not art. Could you train a gorilla technique so that it actually learns how to paint a flower? Sure, it's painting shapes on a canvas. Does it understand what that shape represents? Probably not. Not in the same way that a human being would. And that's the point that I'm making, that art is something that is distinctly human. It's how we relate to one another. It's like a universal human language, if you will. No matter what cultural background, no matter what race you are, ethnic background, what have you, every single culture throughout mankind's history has had art in some shape, fashion, or form. Slapping paint on a canvas is not art. Not everything that a human being makes is considered art. A craft, maybe. It's arts and crafts. Some stuff may just be craft. Practicing craft, practicing technique, practicing theory. But that doesn't necessarily make it art. And there's a lot of aspects that go into art too. Like I said, a whole another topic. But I just wanted to touch upon that in terms of this lens of AI, because everybody's coming at it from a pragmatic standpoint. Oh, the AI is going to put us out of business. Okay. Well, when does free will come into play? You know what I mean? That's a fundamental question. You don't have to, no one's putting a gun to your head and saying you have to use the AI. Are you just saying because the AI can pump out this work in a matter of seconds, that means all the artists throughout the world have zero value? They're worthless at that point. I think that's more of a personal question, if anything. You know what I mean? It says, in other words, it says more about, the person saying that than it does about the actual artist.